Welcome back to my channel. Seems I have another person making silly comments about the Filipina Pea. It really gets kind of boring, and I'd rather defend different people. But as I pointed out in my first video, I deal with things I'm well informed about since I'm not in the business of making stuff up like trolls and gossips do. Since I've seen all of P's videos, I can watch a video criticizing her and immediately know if the attacker is lying. I can't do that with most channels. In those cases, if I suspect someone is making false claims, I would usually have to watch a lot of videos from the person being attacked. That is way too time-consuming, except in fairly rare cases where the attacks are so obviously ridiculous that little research is required. So we have this guy whose channel is called Daym Dude, spelled D-A-Y-M. He makes it a point to keep telling us he's a man, and sure, he acts like many men I've known. You know, the kind who strongly claim something is true, but fail to make an actual case. You are apparently just supposed to believe them. Let's get started with what he first says about P.
She literally got her start off of a bunch of men's backs. She went on Gio's channel, she went on Old Dog's channel.
Wait. She literally got her start up off a bunch of men's backs? No one was taken advantage of. We don't even know if they reached out to P or if P reached out to them, or both. But let's take the most negative view, that P contacted them. First, so what? To reach out to popular channels that draw the same audience is good business, and there isn't a single thing wrong with it. Vloggers team up with other channels all the time for exactly that reason. Second, it would still be their choice whether to interview her or not. They chose to do so. I suspect lots of Filipinas try to get such interviews, but obviously most aren't chosen by these men. It's a free choice. Third, those men benefited from the interviews, which were on their channels, not P's. In the case of Gio, it was a live stream, and it got 171,000 views, which also makes it Gio's most popular live stream, 4.5 times more than his second best. As for Paul Old Dog New Tricks interview, that received 139,000 views, putting it well within the top 5% of all his videos. Seems to me those men really benefited by interviewing P. So, sorry dude, it isn't about succeeding off the backs of these men. I'm sure P benefited by being on those channels. So what? It was just good business for all of them. Other than those few early interviews in the first 2 weeks, P doesn't go around networking with other channels. So she has, overwhelmingly, been letting her own videos draw an audience organically. Which means this dude is completely out of line.
For me personally, I feel she covers things in the manner to get a paycheck. I've seen her cover things in both directions. I've seen her, she covers what gets her paid.
That's weird. I mean, we know YouTube is P's job, so wow, imagine covering things to get a paycheck. Just like singers do songs they think will be popular, or actors choose movies that look promising, or even ordinary wage earners follow the boss's policies chosen to make money to keep their jobs. But his insinuation is that P is just saying whatever it takes to get more pay with no other rationale. There's nothing to actually show that. It's just a regularly repeated claim. Regular viewers of my channel know that is the repetition equals truth tactic, and the everyone knows it's true tactic that typically follows. Also, her followers are aware she does videos she knows won't do well, just because she thinks they should be done. He does say P covers things from both directions, which seems like a good thing to me, yet still makes an issue of her getting paid.
She does her little outfits. She interviews one type of person, then the opposite person. I would say fairly she's neutral, but she's neutrally being paid.
This is also weird. Yes, P wears outfits for skits she has at the end of most of her videos, just like you see in skits on the old Johnny Carson Tonight Show or The Old Carol Burnett Show in prime time, both of which were sometimes sexy. Again, so what? Interviewing people with opposite opinions seems good too, and he does say she's neutral, but then follows with, but she's neutrally being paid. That doesn't even make sense.
In my opinion, she is a feminist.
His claim that she is a feminist is just absurd to anyone who actually pays attention to what she says. P regularly criticizes feminists, and in ways no feminist ever would. Nothing this dude shows supports his claim. He did briefly put up a definition of feminist, so here's what it says a feminist is. Any person who believes in the social, political, and economic equality of all genders, regardless of race, ethnicity, socioeconomic class, religion, ability, and sexual orientation. I know from actually paying attention to P's videos that she believes in equal opportunity for people, but not equality, because that leads to quotas. And she sure doesn't believe that ability doesn't matter. So, sorry dude, P is not a feminist. She has said women should have the right to work, drive, and vote. That's it. Does dude have a problem with that?
In my opinion, the Filipina Pea, in her own words, discussed that she went from the pandemic and she was going to become a massage therapist, which is so typical here.
Is he insinuating something nefarious, like, sex work? If not, why bring it up? Sure, we all hear about the women who go into this line of work and make most of their money from sexual services. But the simple fact is, there are also many massage therapists who simply give legitimate massages.
She was broke with her family, got heartbroken, and allowed a boyfriend to stomp all over her.
She allowed a boyfriend to stomp all over her? No criticism for the guy taking advantage of her? Sounds like a lot of men, just not good ones. In America, we used to praise people who grew up in poverty with no advantages, yet worked hard to better themselves and even help their parents at the same time. Apparently, this American dude doesn't have that philosophy, even though the poverty P experienced was far worse than the poverty we usually see in the U.S. Oh, he may write it off by saying the way she makes her money isn't right, just as her other critics have tried, but it's all assumptions by them.
She's been called out for being a simp channel.
See what I mean? Just call her a simp channel. Name calling and labeling is so much easier than making a legitimate argument.
I have heard rumors, and I have heard other people say she's being sent thousands of US dollars.
I love this. He heard rumors and heard other people say. First, so what if some people join her Patreon to see more videos? Or even if they sometimes send her money via PayPal? If they like her content and appreciate the hard work she puts in, and I don't know of anyone who puts in as much, that's fine. I do know that when people make claims about what she makes, they are consistently wrong. Like Philippine Antics saying she got as much as $3,000 in sticker money from her last Christmas video. But anyone could actually check and find out it was less than $500. Or people who make claims about her YouTube ad money based on Social Blade numbers. However, Social Blade gives a range of income, and the highest is about 16 times more than the lowest. Guess which figure these people always use? Or claim high numbers of Patreon members. Yet I've shown people whose YouTube channels have millions of subscribers, but on Patreon they have less than 200, and that includes the free memberships. With so many wrong assumptions, think how easy it is to just claim they make a lot via PayPal, which, of course, no one actually has any data for. How convenient for gossips. If P is getting a lot of money, that's great. The entertainment business, which does include informative videos, is a high-risk one, often with a very short shelf life. People can have a #1 hit record only to disappear from popular view afterwards, and women in particular can find it more difficult as they age. It's strange how critics object to a pretty woman being successful on YouTube, claiming it is just about her looks and how simps react, but don't consider the disadvantages women have when they are older. So I think it's great if she is bringing in lots of money now. But you know what? I have no idea if she is. I'm sure she's doing well, especially for someone living in the Philippines, but that hardly means she is bringing in vast sums of money and having a secure future. Claims to the contrary are all assumptions. Don't worry though, the trolls and gossips will keep saying she is, even though they really don't know.
That house that she bought, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I watched it a while back last year or year before for her parents. I think it cost way more to build it.
I've seen this before, and they never get it right. For one thing, her family did the construction, which means it would cost much less than normal. And P, who was a business major, may have well worked out very good deals on building materials. Consider a car I bought decades ago. Every dealer I went to was charging list price plus something called ADP, which I had not seen when buying my previous car, which was the same model. This was as much as $400, which would be over $925 in today's money. When I asked what ADP was, they said additional dealer profit, which was allowed because such small cars had little profit. At the time, such a car would cost $9,000 to $10,000 plus the ADP. I checked dealers in 4 states, and all but one did the same thing. But that one dealer, besides not adding ADP, they gave me a discount. They took $550 off list price, so I saved $950, a savings of $2,100 today, which most people couldn't believe when I told them. I guess they could just assume I made it up if they were like this dude's channel. So, no, I don't believe people when they claim to know how much something must cost. They weren't actually involved, so they actually don't know. P would actually know, and there is no reason not to believe her that isn't dependent on assumptions.
She's getting paid by her simps. Her money is coming from PayPal. Her money is coming from Patreon. And she does have Patreon. It's coming from memberships.
Again, assumptions about her pay and name-calling her supporters. Just like middle school. As for Patreon, so what? She gives additional videos there.
The Filipina Pea, in my opinion, is not a dime piece. The Filipina Pea is about a nickel here. She's getting up there in age. She's got average looks to a Filipino man. She just wouldn't pass. That is the truth, and she knows it.
A real man doesn't go around putting down the looks of females. It is something you see in middle school a lot, though. I don't even believe for a moment that most people don't think P is pretty attractive. The way they make it an issue sounds just like the middle school kid who is upset with a girl for some reason and automatically also makes attacks on her appearance, no matter how attractive she is. Heck, a channel this dude seems to have liked, that is, the terminated Mike's Philippine Journey, did a poll on his channel to prove most people thought P was unattractive. Mike himself rated P as low as a 1. Half of the 700 votes rated P as 7 or above. Coming from a channel which was always negative about P with an audience agreeing with Mike, that's pretty impressive. So what did Mike do? He literally deleted or lowered the top 66% of votes and then declared those changed results proved he was right. He's a fruitcake, but apparently dude's kind of guy.
So she prior had dated a expat that I'm to understand, the one that she caught cheating. She's giving dating advice to men. She's giving advice about the Philippines.
Okay, does that mean she's not qualified to give advice? Is this dude insinuating a failed dating situation where it was a man who cheated means P shouldn't give her opinions? If so, then pretty much no one should. Besides, as you'll see, this dude seems fine with Mike's old channel, and Mike was divorced.
Her numbers tank hard when she's talking about her personal life.
What is this about her numbers tanking? First, even if they did, so what? Some videos do okay, some do well, some great. It's kind of the nature of YouTube channels. But it's even stranger that he says this when this particular video got 338,000 views.
As you can see, the titles are meant to draw in simps that are after her. She uses her sexuality. She uses the fact that she's a Filipina and she knows expats are coming here.
She said from the start that her videos are to provide information to people coming to visit and especially live in the Philippines. This dude just chooses to label them as simps. It seems to be about the best he can do. But I'll come back to this stuff about using sexuality a bit later.
Recently, I got information that somebody is feeding her stuff. In other words, there's an expat involved in her channel that's helping her.
Let me guess. He got information from someone who simply said someone is feeding her stuff. I've seen it many times, most recently from the Philippine Antics, who this dude has watched. And you know what? Not a single person making that claim has ever been able to actually show it is true. So at least they have that consistency thing going for them. Frankly, it seems a bit racist or sexist to me to assume P can't do it herself. Besides, P says she does her own scripts, and she would actually know.
And before you guys get your panties in a knot and get all upset and everything, it's the truth.
Amazing. He goes on and on whining about P getting his panties in a wad and then claims others will. However, the last few words are so typical of these gossips and trolls. That is, just claim it's the truth, but not actually show it is the truth. Mike's Philippine journey did that regularly, yet I actually documented him lying over and over again. My videos right here prove it.
As a male that have been living here for 12 years, this woman does not represent the Philippines.
As a female, P has been living there 34 years. Always love how some foreigner starts deciding what Filipinos are representative. Sort of like when Biden said if a black person didn't vote for him, they weren't black. That's a racist statement.
And it seems that these guys are stuck to her like glue, like she's the only woman in the Philippines. She's not, guys. I'm telling you, the biggest YouTubers here is not the Filipina Pea. As you can see here lately, she's even AIing her stuff. She's AIing her thumbnails to make herself look better, which brings her more profit. Yeah, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I guess there's not.
No one thinks she is the only woman in the Philippines, and no one would be surprised to know there are bigger YouTube channels there, even if they haven't personally seen them. Some might say she is the best vlogger there. They are entitled to their opinion, and besides, what one person likes, another won't. So why even make it an issue? As for using AI images of herself, so what? Most of her thumbnails do not, and we all know what she really looks like by simply watching the video. I noticed that most of this dude's videos have very attractive women in his thumbnails, so why did he even mention P's thumbnails? Hypocrisy isn't a good look.
There's full channels out there that's dedicated to her. And there tends to be others that pick on other channels that say anything about the P. So we call those the white knight P defenders.
What is this about channels that pick on other channels that make nonsensical attacks on P? If they are like my channel, I'm only reacting to channels who first decide to pick on P by making assumptions, lying, misrepresenting, etc. Seems this dude is fine with channels picking on P, but doesn't want them to be challenged back. Just another way to avoid defending what they say. How convenient. Of course, he still labels people, this time as white knights, instead of making a real argument.
That's because you're a simp. That's because you're in love with her.
More name calling and assumptions. Never saw that coming. He can't even consider that we just like P's videos, respect her hard work, and maybe even think she is attractive. No, he has to call them simps and declare they are in love with her. Sure, out of hundreds of thousands of viewers, there probably are a few people like that, but these critics act like that is the norm.
In my opinion, her stuff is too commercialized. Her stuff is too not representing the Philippines. She tries to fit in both sides. And guys, she's just saying it's called dollar talk.
I heard that commercialized attack before from the Philippine antics most recently. P does a good job, makes money. So? And what is this about trying to fit in both sides? Isn't that a good thing?
She gets by. She's not that great, she's just paying to be great. And you guys are paying the additional money on the side is where she's getting paid.
How great she is doesn't matter. If you enjoy her videos, you watch. If you don't, then you don't watch. But P has almost 400,000 subscribers. That is way above average. While there are no official numbers from YouTube and estimates vary, most seem to say that less than 1% even reach 100,000 subscribers. At almost 400,000 subs, P is almost 4 times more. Seems great enough.
No hard feelings against her. It's just been in me for a while to speak the truth. Her up against the feminist. She's a feminist guy. She just is. You guys don't see it.
Wow. After all that ridiculous criticism, he declares there are no hard feelings. What a nice guy. Not. And once again, he just declares he's speaking the truth while falsely calling her a feminist. And before you doubt his claim, he says, she just is, and you guys don't see it. In other words, don't question his unsupported claims because he is a man in the Philippines for 12 years. What a joke.
She's a simp channel, always has been. MYK called her out. Others have called her out.
No, Mike flat out lied about her. I documented it over and over. Just watch my other videos about him right here. And just like this dude, Mike proved he was right by saying things like, it's just the truth. Rather self-serving, also meaningless.
I'm a guy, and I don't see it, and I don't get it. There's way more beautiful women here.
Don't care if he sees it or not. He seems to be one who needs others to share his opinion. Real men decide for themselves and don't need others to agree. And real men don't go around degrading the appearance of any woman, even if they were unattractive. Nor does it matter if there are more beautiful women, because a smart man, while they may be attracted to beautiful women, also realize that isn't the only thing that matters, nor is beauty the only thing that attracts them. Marrying a 9 or 10 who is poor wife material would be foolish.
Do you know who I think's actually good? Smart Girl Philippines. Check her out. That girl is giving better advice, way better advice. So check out Smart Girl Philippines, guys. That is a channel. That is a good-looking woman, in my opinion.
That's weird. She does have a successful channel, but is far behind the very same vloggers that this dude compared P to, as if that was a negative. And if you look at her channel, you will see a lot of thumbnails, some of which I'm showing on screen from her most popular releases, and text that is very sexual. Could it be that she's trying to attract men? Maybe simps? Yet it doesn't seem to bother this dude in her case. Maybe he's simping for her. I did check the content of a few of her videos. As expected, the sexy thumbnails to attract viewers don't match the content inside, which is, appropriately, quite reasonable. I also couldn't help notice that she says pretty much the same things as the Filipina Pea does. I sure didn't see anything that took an opposing view. It just confirmed that the dude channel is being foolish at best. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.